Hi, I'm Lee Stevens from easycurtains.co.uk. So we're fitting the Wallfix Slimline curtain track today, and we're fitting it on 7.5cm wall brackets because the windowsill sticks out a few centimetres. We want the curtains to hang in front. So let's go and have a quick look at how we're going to start this project. Okay, we're going to fit one of the 7.5cm brackets now over the window, and this has a screw fixing hole over the top and it has a screw fixing hole underneath, and we supply brackets for spacing on this track at approximately 40 centimetres in between each bracket. So you'll come in on the ends of the track 5 to 10 centimetres, then roughly 40 centimetres in between each bracket. So I'm going to screw this bracket now up in place here. We've already pre-marked and drilled the plug holes on this, but I'm going to explain to you in a minute how we arrived at the positioning of this track. And we knew that it was level before we fitted the brackets. So we've got the bracket fitted now, and they have a little cover that goes over the front, and you just put it on at a 45-degree angle. There we go, it's on there. And push it to the back, and it clips in place. Right, so I'm going to show you now how we worked out. We'd already put the spacing lines on for the brackets, but how do we know that all those lines are now going to be level? So let's have a quick look at how we did that. So as I said before, the brackets are spaced about 40 centimetres apart. So what we did was we pencil marked some lines over the top of the window at the spacing that we wanted. We then ignore the fact that we've got brackets over the window now. You won't have these brackets when you're doing this. So you've got your lines ready for your bracket positions. You place the track over the top of the window. You can see the little pencil marks just peeping below the track. You then put a spirit level on the top. You know now that your track, once that bubble's in the middle, is going to be level. And then what we do is we then pencil mark just over the top of the track, because the bracket comes up behind it 2 centimetres for the fixing hole. So we're going to put a little pencil mark over the top of the track to mark the tops of the brackets position. So once we take the track away, we'll be able to position the back plate of the bracket up to that top pencil mark, also where the little horizontal spacing lines were for the 40 centimetres, and we're going to fix those tracks. Now, once you've got your brackets fitted, as you saw just before, the next step would be to clip the track into the brackets here. So let's have a quick go at that. So we're going to take this track, and what you're going to do is you're going to push it back against these fittings just inside here. You need to make sure the screw that holds these in is loose but not completely falling out. And we're going to put these in here now, and we're going to push back against that, and then the front lip just pops over the top here like so, and then you tighten the little screws up underneath, and that locks your track into position, and you're now ready to start hanging the curtains. We've got our curtains hanging now, but I just wanted to mention to you that we've got the glider here that your curtain hooks hook into. Now, this needs to face forwards to the flush with the front of the track. So if you want to come in close and have a quick look here, you can see that this glider, there's a front and a back to it, and this little eyelet here is now more in line with the front and away from the back of the track. That's the correct position, so make sure you're putting your track, clipping it into the brackets in the right direction. And also, we've got a curtain draw rod here hanging down on the second glider in. You can add these to your order if you want to, and then what happens is, once the curtain's hooked up here, then rather than pulling on the curtains to open and close, you can just get hold of the draw rod to draw your curtains backwards and forwards. across the window. So there you have it. It's really simple to fit these Slimline wall fixed curtain tracks. And just remember, you've got multiple choices on your projection. You've got 4.5 centimetre, 7.5 centimetre, 10 centimetre and 15 centimetre. Almost certainly, most people will be choosing the 4.5 centimetre or the 7.5 centimetre brackets for fitting these tracks. So just before I go, I want to show you quickly the 4.5 centimetre bracket, because that looks a little different from the rest of the brackets. And also there isn't a cover for the back, and I'll show you how we deal with that. So here's the 4.5 centimetre bracket. Now that's 4.5 centimetre from the back of the bracket to the front. This only has one fixing hole in this, so it's not as super secure. So if you've got heavy curtains, I would recommend you go up to the 7.5 centimetre bracket. But if you use this bracket, then there is no cover that fits over the inside here. So how do we deal with that? Well, simple answer is your screw fixing goes through the little cap here, and then once it's screwed into the bracket like so, then you can close the front up and it makes that bracket look nice and neat. So that's how we deal with the 4.5 centimetre bracket that doesn't have a custom made back cover. So I hope this was all useful, and I look forward to helping you.